level of candidates is a vast improvement on what we've had in the past in the way of numbers. But it also may be indicative of levels of concern that are in the community that councils aren't doing it right and they aren't getting it right for the ratepayers. So there may be a lesson there for the existing councillors as well. And this part of the session will take a different format. You'll be asked a question and you'll be asked to stand if you say yes, stay seated if you don't agree. You wish to stand, just cross your arms, okay, and stay seated. Well, you can stand and cross your arms, but that means you don't want to answer that question. Stay standing for long enough for Carleen to be able to do a pan of all the answers. It's only 10, I think, if I remember rightly. So the first question that I'm going to ask you is, will you, as a candidate, prioritise cleaning the air at Mount Maunganui?
Thank you.
Second question. Well, these are actually questions you will be talking about anyway, so you've probably already formed the view. Do you agree it is time for the region to consider the amalgamation of the 3 councils?
Consider. Yeah. To have the discussion.
Yeah. Happy to have, that's what I was saying, have the conversation.
There's more than 3 councils in the region.
Yeah.
No, Western Bay Regional Council and Tauranga City. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, I'm thinking Tauranga Ward. Yeah. Thank you. But these questions have come from others, so there may be a bit of doubling. Should the amalgamation of the Tauranga councils, Western Bay, Tauranga City and Regional Council go to a referendum?
If that comes out of the consideration.
Thank you. Next question. Do you support the sale of local Tauranga port shares?
That's a it depends where you are, because we've all agreed at council that we've had the decision that we will sell now, but it's not the. Some argue for 28% and some argue for higher. I'm one who believes 40% would be more sensible than 28%. Others have a different view. So
it's the principle of having the conversation about selling down
We're
shares.
Exploring the idea.
We're not against it.
Thank you.
I think the issue isn't around selling them, it's around about who you sell them to.
Yeah.
The partner, it's a partnership thing. We own the Port of Tauranga, and who we partner with is vital around about it. And so I think it's less around the question of ownership, it's around about who you partner with to make it perform better.
Next question is about the port again. Do you support further port developments and impacts on the Tauranga Harbour due to deepening the depth to enable larger vessels and additional berthing capabilities?
Can you read the question out
The
again?
effects need to be managed, that's the thing.
Yeah, can you read it out again?
Do you want that question again?
Well, no, the Stella passage is only about 2. There's only 2 sections that have been going to be deepened. They're not going to change the depth of throughout the whole passage. It's just where the berths are. So,
thank you, Andrew. Yep. I'm quite with you people to clarify this as we go through.
Yeah, I think there needs to be an offset. There needs to be cross-organisational collaboration. Iwi and Hapu need to be part of it. And what I said earlier, aquaculture, we could look at an alternative elsewhere in estuaries and on the coastline for restoration. Also, you can do it with engineering. If you look at Singapore Port, they've used caissons, which are prefabricated, and you can use bentonite. There's different solutions where you actually don't interfere with the seabed as much as some of the engineering solutions have suggested.
This is not a yes/no question.
No.
Well, you're giving the chance to clarify it, which is good. Yeah.
No.
Question again? Yeah.
Thank you.
Andrew, sorry, what's the question?
Should you extend the port?
before you move on?
That was, do you support further port developments and impact on the Tauranga Harbour, deepening the depth to enable larger vehicles and additional berthing capabilities? Next question is around the buses. Do you believe the current bus schedules and bus sizes are sustainable?
Sustainable. Can they be improved? Can they be improved?
Can I tell you that the bus contract that the bus contract that we're under at the moment was a 9-year, this was mandated by government, was a 9-year contract that we had to have 44-seater buses, and so that was ridiculous. That's changed. The contract comes up for Tauranga in 2027, and that's why we will be able, and you are allowed now, if you want to, the council could own the buses themselves so they can determine what the structure of the buses are. We're not suggesting that, but so the original contract that was under the previous administration and central government was ridiculous in my view, and already we're seeing when that came in, we put 5 electric buses on. They cost $700,000 each more than a diesel bus. Today you can get an electric bus for exactly the same price as a diesel bus because they're only making electric buses basically.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment about that? I've said to you, I've been working for the last 10 years on this and taken a great interest in the transport. It's a race to the bottom with the contract. Okay, it's 9 years, it's way too long. And also we've got the junkyard of New Zealand buses. I caught those buses, there were stagecoach buses up in Auckland when I came here in 1998. I remember the fabric, it's all 80s stuff, okay, and it looks like someone's puked on it. We've got the junkyard of all the diesel buses, and you can go and check there, you can know that. So it's the lowest common denominator. It's working well for the kids, and apparently that's about 800 to 1,000 people per day. So it's like 1/3 of the use of the buses is by the kids. So it's completely skewed. The rest of it, as I said, they're ghost buses, 1 or 2 people using them. It's a mess. And I remember the head of staff back then of transport, who's no longer at the council, but it was just, I just thought, crazy system. So there's an opportunity to actually reset this and redesign it and do it in stages. We don't have to go and spend a lot of money, but change the buses straight away from a 44-seater to a smaller bus. And let's get people pumping. Big wide doors, bomber seats. Let's change the system. Let's not keep doing the same old. Otherwise
Thank you,
we've got
Mark.
the same answers.
Actually, that negates the next question that was put forward. And I'll say what the question was, but you don't need to answer it because I think it's been answered. And the question was, is the required NZTA 44-seater buses realistic? I think we've answered that.
What's a good example of is how a central government, it's a good example of where a decision is made for a local area which is not local, and that's the big danger of the amalgamation suggestions that are on, because if you're not aware of what the local place looks like, you're going to make things that suit Auckland or Wellington or Timaru, who knows, but won't be suited for the Mount or even Tauranga or the region.
Thank you, Ron. Next question. Do you support moving the airport, the creation of a regional facility for Whakatane, Rotorua and Tauranga, centralised, for example, in Paengaroa?
Yes.
Can I tell you, we actually...
No, we'll just do yes, no this time on this one. I think it's pretty straightforward. There's been a lot of talk about it. Thank you.
About $700 million to do it.
300 million.
No,
Not 700.
was 700.
Yeah. So there are reports that date back about 15 years ago. If you go and use ChatGPT or Grok, you can find the reports. I'll send you the link if you're interested. It only got one reading, I think, at council, and there was no support for it. But I certainly think we should be looking at it for planning for the future, because if we have any disasters in our port, we'll need to look at Rangiuru or Paengaroa for getting our produce out. So it could be an inland trade port as well. So it could be passengers and trade port, Paengaroa.
Thank you, Mark. Woolly Nightshade.
Can I just add to that? This does age me, but I was part of the implementation group for Smart Growth back
Can
in
you people
2000.
hear okay? Do you
I
want?
was involved in these conversations when I was involved with Smart Growth back in 2006. I was on the implementation group, Stuart's at the time. when I was at West Bay District Council, and we talked a lot about the idea of a Pungaroa place for the airport, and it didn't go ahead for various reasons, but I do think it's, given the congestion and the environment we have now, it's time to have that conversation again and maybe dig some of those reports back up from 2006 that Mike's referred to.
Thank you. Woolly nightshade, moth plant and gorse appear out of control across the district. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And mainly on the state highways.
And Kiwi Road.
Thank you.
And in the estuary.
This question's a bit long-winded, so I have to read. I've been asked to read a descriptor for it first, and it's something that's quite particular to the Mount. Rate affordability for many is a significant cost of living burden. In the Mount, there are many asset-rich but cash-poor residents on fixed incomes, many of whom have lived here all their lives, and their social structures, friends and family live nearby. The current system may be viewed as a form of wealth taxation. Councils provide services for all, yet some pay more for the same. Is there any other service provision where, depending on your capital wealth, you have to pay more? An average Mount property pays around $11,000 in city rates, with some folk forking out up to $25,000 to $30,000 for their properties. Maybe rates should be set on an average property district value and all pay the same. The question to ask is, do you think the current rating system is fair and equitable, or that it needs to be reviewed?
But those figures too are pertaining to city council rates obviously as well, whereas the regional council rates I suppose are already quite...
Yeah, that's the question. The question crosses both councils, I believe.
I don't know, how does it cross both councils, because the regional councils are quite low?
Yeah, the financial burden
Well,
of...
you still pay your regional rates based on your property value.
Yeah, but the average rate, and Andrew can speak to this, but my understanding is the average rate rise was about $11 per person for the regional council. So I think...
Yeah, the question centres around the wealth tax, basically, I think.
So the rate rise for Tauranga, for the Bay of Plenty, the whole Bay of Plenty, was 0.2% rate rise. It was said that it was higher than that, but you've got to take both the general rate and the targeted rate and put the two together.
I thought it was about 3%.
No, it was 2.9 without the target.
Let's not argue about it. The question is, do you think that the rating system is equitable? Yes or
The answer
no?
is no. It comes under the Rating Powers Act. It's about 100 and something years old. And funding tools for local government, whether they're regional or TRNAs, is brilliant.
Yeah.
And it needs absolutely a complete review.
Yeah. Thank you, Stuart. So you're the only one that agrees?
Well, no.
Come on, are you going to stand or sit?
There are rates for these programs.
What standing we agree with?
Standing means that you agree that the rating system needs to be reviewed.
We just needed clarity on the question.
Okay, thank you. That's the end of that part of the session. And thank you for your cooperation and understanding. We're now going to open the floor to any questions that you may have out in the audience. I think if you can either limit your question to a particular councillor or manage it the way we just did then and get all councillors to react in some way. We don't want them taking 3 minutes on each question that you have, each councillor answering that. We'll be here all night. Okay, so the floor is open. We've got a microphone running around here with Garth, so if you wish to ask a question, please just raise your hand and Garth will give you the microphone.
You won't have to run at this rate now. A slow walk will do.
John's always got a question.
Come on, John.
You must have a question, John.
Who's got a question?
Whoops, is that
Is this
Sue?
on? I've got a question.
No.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, sir.
Oh, yeah, I've got a
But
big
they might not be able to.
Testing. Test,
Try the other one.
testing. I tried them before though.
Is this like the ice cream thing?
Yeah.
Testing. Test.
I've got a big voice. My question is, the City Council looks after the bus stops. You guys look after the buses. The bus stops are so dirty. Today I cleaned behind the Links Avenue bus stop that the kids use mostly, and the one also on the other side by the fire station. I got 4 bags of rubbish from behind the one that's opposite the fire station. It's disgusting. I don't know who looks after the cleanliness behind the power boxes, but no one cleans behind the power boxes except me. And I would like to ride the buses more, but the bus stops are shitty. That's a really nice word for them. I would like to know, can the Regional Council take a lead in controlling NZTA and the railways and the City Council with the buses and all the other shitty areas that I clean? Because I am 75 and sooner or later I will give up. On the other side of the railway line, it is the golf course. That is City Council. The NZTA look after the road and the gutters never ever get cleaned. The City Council looks after part of that, I think, and I think they've leased a lot of railway land. And the place is disgusting. So when are you going to amalgamate is number one question. Number two, could you do any better with the buses? And if it's going to be railways, it'll be railway stations. Because I like to live in a clean place and I like to use a clean utility.
Can I answer that? So the problem is that the bus stops, as you rightly said, are the responsibility of the city, and the bus operations are the responsibility of the Regional Council. We were having problems in both at Farm Street and in the CBD with poor behaviour. So we wanted security. That is the responsibility of the city. The commissioners refused to address it. So we ended up spending $900,000 of our, it's the same ratepayer anyway, money to put, so we have to have, we have 3 people on security doing that. Now, I don't know your issue over on the Mount. I think you must be grubby people, because every day it's a visit. Every day I walk with my dog. At the end of the day, I try to walk and I go use Durham Street to see how the buses are operating, and there doesn't seem to be a problem there. But I'm not walking over at Farm Street. So.
Thank you for your comments tonight, and I absolutely agree with you. Andrew's right, TCC is responsible for the bus shelters and Regional Council is responsible for the buses. But that's a problem. They should be with both of those, there's a disconnect, okay? And I've come to present at council a number of times, and Andrew, remember, I did smart solar bus shelters. So basic things like having a light. People hold, you've probably done this yourself, they hold out their cell phone because there's no light inside the bus shelter. So just to have basic amenity like light, a visual display, and maybe even a heater because it's cold in winter. Okay, so basic stuff like that. And I remember Anne Tolley, one of the commissioners, said, she part of the overlap with the 2 councils, said that we've got to put a coat stand in the room and not behind the door, and we've got to deal with this. And there was some funding put aside, but nothing happened. I even got engineers, and I put some work towards it, and engineers did too, and we couldn't get off the ground because you had to allow for 3 big hulking men to jump on the top of this thing, and then they, so they basically quashed it. And really, there were 300 bus shelters because you changed the system partway through the nine-year contract, and suddenly TCC and BOPRC weren't aligned, and we had to find 300 bus shelters to get on the new routes that regional council had done. I mean, it's just this basic stuff that they just have not got right, and people will look after them if they've actually got some amenity. So there's a lot of there's no joined up thinking here at all.
I guess I'm going to put just a question to you all. Are you happy with the current bus culture in Tauranga?
No.
Stand up if you are, stay seated if you're not.
Thank you, Sue, as well.
Okay, so
We see the work that you do.
Sure, Glenn.
First of all, I want to thank Sue. Everyone who knows Sue, you are a pillar of our community, and you spend hundreds and hundreds of hours every week, and I've done it with you. We've picked up balls outside the Amani Golf Course, we've cleaned up the streets along Moana Road. You are a pillar of our community, and you look after our community. So thank you for all the work that you do and the way you clean up our city amenities. I think we all agree with you that all the councils are not doing enough for those little things to install pride in our city. And those are things like mowing those berms, getting our lawns cut, emptying those rubbish bins more often. Those are all the little things that councils need to do and do well, and we need to fund them appropriately so they can provide those service levels. It's the little things, as we all teach our kids, making your bed every morning and saying thanks to mum and dad when they've made your breakfast. Those are little things that'll serve you throughout your life, you know, and that's what we need to do as councillors also. It's the little things that count, and they will make the difference that'll change the behaviour, because cleaning up and respecting our environment is so important, and it's the behaviours that we all exhibit. So I think sometimes both DCC and the Regional Council and Western Bay, those things that seem to be the nice to haves are taking away mowing the lawns, or taking away the cleaning, or taking away less rubbish bins, less recycling bins. These are little small things that we can do that have great long-term impact, and we so often cut those things, and they shouldn't be cut at all.
Pass the buck.
Thank you.
Pass the buck.
DTA
could be a long contract or whatever it is. We can deal with little things. We can do those things ourselves. They're not expensive. We just have to do them.
Carl.
Yeah, Mike, I've got a question. For those people who are standing who support moving the airport out to Pangaroa, Andrew Von Delson said that will cost over $700 million. And I'd like to know from the people who support doing that, where that money's coming from.
Who are the supporters?
So I stood like this because I support having those conversations. It's not currently in the Smart Growth Plan, but I believe that we do need to have conversations with people. If that's an idea that the community are coming up with and want to explore, then we should be open to those conversations rather than closed-minded. So, you know, I don't know how much the business case would need to be done, and how much is it costing us to have the resilience to keep the airport here, and all those other things would have to be done under a business case. But I would support a conversation. I'm not saying I support, okay, let's just do it, you know, game of Monopoly, we'll stick that there, slap some money down on it. Yeah.
Good answer, Kat. I think that was, that's actually this question. I think that was the general feeling of all those that stood up.
Exactly.
I think that's the message I got.
Just a clarification on the dollars. I said 700. It was 700,000 to do the report for smart growth, and it was, they employed an Australian company to do it. They came up and it was going to be 450,000, not 700. 450 million, and their recommendation was it wasn't feasible at Pangaroa, but it should go up the top of Byes Park, where it's foggy half the year. So, it was a crazy report. $700,000 it cost, and it got put in the bin.
Yes, so I think it's a good point you're raising. The reason why I support it is long-term planning is really important, and we don't do long enough planning. I worked in Japan for a number of years, and we did regularly 100-year business year plans. Narita Airport in Japan that land was purchased 150 years before they broke soil and built the airport at Narita in Tokyo. So they were thinking long term, 150 years in advance. The Rangiora Business Park that we're developing now.
Before aeroplanes. You're saying
Correct. Yes, they did. Yeah, they bought it for transport links. Yeah.
That's slightly different.
Oh, sorry, right, as it was, sorry, it was zoned, and it was purchased for the councils for their regions, right, for their, for zoning, yeah. And if you look at the Rangiuru Business Park, right, that, well, I think that land was acquired by Quayside in 20
years ago.
over 20 years ago, and we're now just breaking soil on it. So these things take a long time, right? So a 10-year plan or a 20-year plan, it takes a long time. So look, having these discussions around about some potential land and where it could be are well worth having the discussions, and is the land available? But yeah, it might take 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and the current airport infrastructure may not be fit for purpose. But if you've got a plan B in the drawer,